Hey everyone, History Mystery Man here, on my way back from my holiday break, en route from my home in Sylvania, Ohio, back to Salem, Indiana. I was gone for about 12 days, really enjoyed my time back home, and I told myself on this trip that I was not going to get off the beaten path. I was going to go straight through, but I don't know what it is. It's the lure of this stuff that pulls me in and pulls me over every time. In this case, Fairmount, Indiana got me. Because this is where James Dean lived, the Hollywood film star. In fact, that's the house he lived in with his aunt, uncle, and cousin right there. This was where he lived before he became a Hollywood sensation. And they don't care if you come in here and pull in, pull off, take pictures and such. There's a great image of James Dean coming out of that barn. I think there's a dog trailing him or a barn animal or something. I can't really remember. But yeah, this farm is really well preserved and really gorgeous, and very much as it was when James Dean lived here. He lived in that home with his aunt and uncle and his younger cousin. Now his younger cousin is still alive, and I'll guarantee you he's in that house right now. And you don't know how bad I want to go pound on that door and say, hey, give me 5 minutes. Talk to me for 5 minutes. Tell me about James Dean. You're one of the last remaining family links to the film icon. And I don't have the courage to do it. It wouldn't be appropriate now anyway, probably, but I want to go bang on that door so bad. If I had a little more, you know what, I'd probably go do it, but I just don't have it right now. But I want to talk to him. So if somebody sees this from Fairmount, Indiana, and you know James Dean's cousin, tell him the History Mystery Man wants to talk to him for 5 or 10 minutes. I won't keep him long, but I would be forever grateful for the interview. But this farm is so cool. It's very much as it was when Dean lived here. And right down the street from the home of James Dean, where he lived with his aunt and uncle, is this awesome little well-preserved building. Ooh, how about that? Merry Christmas from James Dean himself. Look at this. Carter's Motors, sales and service, Indian motorcycles. Well, they don't sell Indian motorcycles here anymore, but I wanted to show it to you real quickly. Let me step out here, stepping up, stepping out, because this little brick building, well-preserved brick building, is where James Dean purchased his first Indian motorcycle. Hey, buddy, how are you? Couldn't you just see him going through that door? Coming out in his black leather jacket, cigarette hanging off his lip, riding away on an Indian motorcycle. Beautiful. I'm thinking I don't have to tell you who's buried back there. And I know my life would look all right if I could see it on a silver screen. James Dean. James Dean would have walked and or driven down the main drag here in Fairmount a million times. The year he died, I think September 30th, 1955 was the date of the fatal crash out in California. But early in that year, 55, he paid a visit to his hometown here in Fairmount, and there are several photos of him here in town that day, one of which was taken right there. I don't know if you can see the little footprint there. They actually put the feet print of James Dean right where he was standing in the photo. But he loved this little town and grew many of his roots here, and all these iconic buildings were of course here back in the day as well. That's a neat building, isn't it? 1889. Yeah, this is the main drag, the main strip. Welcome to Fairmount, Indiana. And it's so fascinating to me to know where people come from. Obviously we know that he became a great big film star, but how did he get there? How did it all happen? Where did he come from? Well, he came from Fairmount, Indiana, for the most part, born in Marion, Indiana, but this would have been all very familiar to James Dean. Interesting. There's that iconic photo of James Dean. When he came back in 1955 to visit his hometown one more time, it would be his final time. But you see the old iconic building there behind him? Yeah. And there it is, right there. And they even put his feet print on the ground, on the sidewalk, exactly where he was. I'm standing on it now. when this photograph was taken. Are you from Fairmount?
I'm originally from Texas, but we've lived here in Fairmount for 13 years.
Really? Yeah, have you ever met his cousin?
Oh yeah, Marcus.
Yeah, see, I want to interview the guy, but I don't know him, and I don't have the guts to go pound on his door. So,
If you leave me your name and number, I can call some people, and maybe how long are you in town for?
oh, I can come back through any time. I'm in the state, and that's close enough for me. So,
You look familiar. I think
well, I did a feature on Fairmount on the History Mystery Man.
a year or so
Yep,
ago.
Facebook and YouTube.
Well, I can make a phone call and try to set it up.
That'd be great. I'll leave you my card.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but my husband and I moved here because my husband was looking for Mayberry. So we tried a lot of states that had little towns similar to this, but this one was a lot more quaint and friendly, and they take care of the town here. And if things needed to get done, it got done. Like we have brand new sidewalks, and
I like it.
I'm from Texas,
Texas, okay.
but we lived in Atlanta.
What part of Texas?
San Antonio. is
San
where I grew up.
Antonio.
And then we
Davy Crockett.
Yep. And we lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 20 years. And then,
Sure.
So we came up here and we bought that house right there, that yellow house right there.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
And so
I like
then
it.
We,
How old is that house?
it was 1882.
1882. Oh,
And
that's
this
cool.
building
I love
It used
that.
to be the Masonic Temple, and it was
Ooh.
1897.
Oh, really?
We bought this 5 years ago for the Masons, and they were looking.
So you sell little treasures in here, antiques and such,
It's a
and
consignment shop. It's a vintage consignment shop. So we've got this side, and then the other side is more home furniture, beds, and.
are you holding your own, hanging in there? I mean, coronavirus and all those things. I mean,
Great. I don't have any problems, but we also sell online too, like
okay,
Marketplace. And
that's great.
all
So
those
the name of the business is
Minerva's Treasures.
Minerva's Treasures.
And then-
Are you Minerva?
No, Minerva
Oh.
was my grandmother,
Oh, okay.
so I named it after her because it's a vintage store. And
I
she's got a
gotcha.
vintage name.
I just think it's interesting. You come from Texas and through Atlanta, and you end up in Fairmount, Indiana. I mean, how does that happen?
Well,
you
we
know?
used to come to the James Dean car show.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
And then we would come 7 or 8 times a year. We would drive into Fairmount and go into all the little shops, go to the
Yeah.
stores, buy things. Yeah, on the other side, this is my husband's house. Okay, let's go right here with him. But so upstairs is our starter's ballroom. So we turned the Masons Grand Room into an event center for weddings and receptions and birthday parties and graduation open houses. And then we did the James Dean Sweetheart Dinner Dance up there a couple of times, and then we had his birthday party up there. They've also utilized it for an art show during the James Dean festival.
Goodness.
This is Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl.
We got her when she was 1.98 pounds. Minnie Pearl had a $1.98 price tag on her hat. And since she's predominantly white, so we do trivia questions.
She's a
inside the
beautiful
shop.
pup.
She's a good
What
pup.
kind of pup is she?
She's a short-legged, short-haired Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, I love her. Well, here I am.
Okay.
There's the History Mystery Man.
Sure.
And if you're able, and you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. If you do ever talk to the cousin of James Dean, who still lives in the home up the street, I would be forever grateful to come and sit down with him for 5 or 10 minutes and just talk.
And his sister, Joanne, who's older than Marcus, and Joanne was 6 years older than Jimmy.
Oh, she's still here too?
Yep, she lives close by. But Joanne, we learned more from Joanne about the true James Dean than anybody else.
Really?
Because she felt like she
Well-
raised him because her parents were working the farm.
Well, I'd be grateful to talk to her too. So if you want to put a good word in for me, this is an interesting little town. It's funny. It's got every small town in America has its own vibe, and Fairmount definitely has its own vibe. And I don't know if this is corny or what, but when I drive through here, I can feel James Dean, and I can't explain that or what it really feels like. But you can call it a presence, you can call it whatever you want, but I feel James Dean here.
Well, and so many people have felt that, not just visitors and outsiders. And then around the corner, our newest attraction is the Rebel Lodge, which is an Airbnb. So right here is the Rebel Lodge Airbnb.
Okay, I took that little brick building.
Yeah, one of the James Dean fans from California, Jerry Traub, he bought that a few years ago, had it all totally gutted. It used to be the the Giant. It was a little pub bar, karaoke, and
Yeah.
totally rebuilt the whole thing. So inside, it's got furniture, beds, decor from the 50s. Anyone who stays there can watch the movies that James Dean made because they're in there.
Yeah.
So we've already had 5 families move back to Fairmount because they stayed in the Rebel Lodge and fell in love with Fairmount.
I love it.
There's local traffic, but not big city traffic. So
No,
that's a lot.
it's a piece of cake traffic-wise here.
Exactly, yeah.
It's fast in and fast out, and too fast to live, too young to die. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you. I really
I'll
do.
see what I can. In the 80s, before I ever met him, he was in Sharky's machine with Burt Reynolds. And
Your husband was?
yeah, he was like Burt's double.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't have a speaking part or anything, but he was his double. So
Like if they needed a truck to run over Burt Reynolds, your husband would step in?
yeah, you're right. Whatever that he.
Your husband played
He
at
honestly
double
did
to
that.
Burt Reynolds in the movie.
Yes, he did.
Okay,
Back in
that's
the
cool.
80s. He went to acting school with Marla Maples, and he did some commercials for different. What brought him and I together when we met was I loved James Dean and he did too. I loved Elvis and he did too. Marilyn Monroe was just like part of the the 50s movement or whatever, but he had Marilyn dolls and
I love Marilyn Monroe. She was exceptionally bright and didn't get credit for it.
Right.
She was also a big
Exactly.
fan of Abraham
Yes.
Lincoln.
Exactly.
And if you're smart enough to know that, then
Yeah. But this is his little small town, hometown little gym where he works out.
that's cool.
And,
I love
everybody
it.
in town through the last 13 years has either come and gone and worked out some.
Hey, where are you guys from?
Us, from Jonesboro.
Jonesboro?
Yeah, so about 10 minutes away.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like Jonesboro, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln gave one of the 7 debates. Oh, okay. I didn't even know there was a Jonesboro, Indiana.
Yeah, about as big as Fairmount, actually, probably smaller.
Really? What are you guys buying today?
We've got a candle and a bicycle seat and a DVD.
Cool, cool.
What's your email? A local girl from somewhere in the area.
A local girl makes the James Dean pillows? That's kind of neat. That's one thing I do love about small town America. Each small town has those, stories unique to themselves.
She
The
had
local girl,
craft a sheet.
makes the pillows.
And she makes like the little sachets that smell great and pipes themselves.
I like this original floor.
Yeah,
cool.
when my husband ripped the carpet out when we bought the building, the carpet had been laid for over 55 years and it was just terrible. So we ripped it out and found the hardwood underneath. So then I had to sand it and get the nails and the tacks out of it and everything, and then stain it. I polyurethaned it probably 4 or 5 coats.
I can tell.
But you can see the older part of the wood that's mostly worn the most. I'm gonna have to
I kind of like it because when I walk across this old floor, I can almost feel footprints in it, like just from the wear and tear and the grooves and it's interesting. It
the
kind of
stories it could tell, right?
yeah, no kidding.
Welcome to my Hello, I didn't want to run. Yeah, I know. How are y'all doing today? Good.
Sure, I wanted to ask you.
By the way, they have a really awesome James Dean museum here, and lots of authentic things that belong to James inside. It's really, really cool. So if you're here, you gotta go. Well, within the hometown of James Dean, Fairmount, Indiana, it's only appropriate that we pay our respects. I think those were his parents, maybe? There it is. And they're still leaving flowers, of course, all these decades later. In addition to the flowers, look at people also leave cigarettes. James Dean smoked cigarettes. I mean, it was often you'd see a cigarette hanging off his lip. It's kind of neat. And he's next. Okay, here is the aunt and uncle he lived with, the Winslows, Marcus and Hortense. No, not at all. No, did you guys come to see the grave of James Dean? Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's why I came too. Where'd you guys come from?
Columbus, Indiana.
Oh, that's a beautiful town. Tony Stewart lives around there. Maybe I expected this big giant monument or something. I don't know. And there's a little tiny stone.
And people chip away at it. That's why it looks like that. Do you see the top of it and the side?
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're kidding. I thought that was just a rough-hewn look that everybody liked.
I thought we've read that people chip away.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I can go over to this stone and see it's got that perfect curvature at the top. This one has definitely been gouged into. I just think it's neat that people are still so fascinated by this guy all these decades later. You know, it's like I've been here for like a half hour. It's a steady stream of cars. People come.
This is actually the third time I've been here.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But the last time was probably
The
over 20
last
years
times,
ago.
yeah, was about 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Have you seen his movies, James Dean's movies?
Well, I have because I am fascinated by him and
You know they have a huge festival. We haven't actually been to it.
that car festival.
Yeah, it's in September. And
Yeah.
the little town by Columbus called Hope has their big festival then.
Yeah.
A teacher there, and so we are always.
Oh, really?
I've always wanted to come to the James Dean Days. It's the last weekend of
It-
September.
Oh, it would be awesome. What do you teach?
Third grade.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. It's been interesting.
Well, that too. Yeah, listen to me. Oh, cool, man. I didn't go through Corona as a teacher, which is like the world's hardest job right now.
If you thought teaching 23rd graders in class was challenging, try to get them all in a Zoom meeting.
Oh my gosh. So that tells me that your kids are not in classroom right now.
We're supposed to go back. We are off all next week and go back to school the 11th of January.
Yeah.
Still kind of pending.
Sure. You know what's fascinating to me about this? Little kids dreading to go to school. Now they're begging to go back.
Yeah.
Not only because the learning experience is so much more valuable, but for the social experience. But I will always believe in my heart that the better learning experience will always be in the classroom. There's just something to that.
Right. And I
You
think
know.
a lot of people didn't think that until now.
Oh, they know. If they didn't think it, they know it now.
Now you definitely see that.
It's like we also learned through Corona we don't need offices. Big giant offices outfitted by millions of dollars is unnecessary. We can all work from home. We've known that for 20 years. We're just admitting it now. Yeah, that's cool. What do you do for a living?
I work at a plant that makes flexible packaging.
Oh, really? Are they busy right now?
Yes.
That's good. That's what I like hearing.
I
And
mean, yeah, we make the packaging if you buy the Oreos and Chips Ahoy that opens and closes. That's what we do. That's a big part of it.
what I found out about teaching was that I did it for 7 years at the University of Toledo. And I learned that nobody teaches you how to teach. I had no idea how to do. What do I do? The lesson planning. It's really hard.
It is, yeah.
You know, I made like $100 a week as an adjunct professor, and I spent 20 hours a week on it. It's like,
Well, when I graduated, there was not very many teaching jobs open. Like there were so many teachers that were getting close to retirement. And so for 2 years, I was an assistant, and that's where I learned the most, is just helping other teachers in their class.
I wish I would have had that experience.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. I'm also crazy about Amelia Earhart. Have you ever been to her hometown? in
Oh
Atchison?
man, I'm just blown away you would even ask that question. Because
My daughter's
I
named
I am so fascinated by Amelia Earhart. No, I've never been to her hometown. I'd love to go.
The home she grew up in, her grandparents' home, is a
Wha-
museum now.
Where is it?
So
Atchison,
awesome.
Kansas.
Atchison, Kansas. Yes, I highly recommend.
I want to know what happened to her. I know.
Part of me does, but see, I teach my kids about Amelia Earhart, and the reason they love her so much is the mystery of it all. And I
Yeah.
feel like if the mystery were solved, they might not give a care.
Sure. Have you ever heard of Ruth Nichols? And Ruth Nichols was, for lack of better words, a badass. A female aviator. Whoa. Beyond incredible. She set all kinds of speed records for females. She's the Amelia Earhart you never heard of, but should have, you know.
And we've been to here. There's this guy, he has an organization, Rick Gillespie's his name, and he's with Tiger. They go to look for artifacts of Amelia Earhart, and they go to this island, and they found like part of a
Nicaragua.
shoe. They found part of a shoe and a piece of a plane, but there's no identifying information on the plane.
Yeah.
Like the rivets match up and stuff. So we've seen him speak a couple times.
That would be
and,
so interesting.
Yeah. He found a makeup compact, and like everything he's found dates back to her time period on this island.
First female to cross the Atlantic by herself, you know. I mean, what an amazing thing in that time period and the courage it would take to do that. Because
As a woman,
when you
too.
drive out over the Atlantic, there comes that point where there's no turning back.
Right.
You know, you either gonna make it or you're not.
You can't pull over and take a 5-minute break.
My daughter, I named her middle name's Amelia after Amelia Earhart.
That's really cool. What year is it?
It's a 68.
68 Chevrolet.
6-cylinder.
Straight six. Yeah, oh yeah. That is cool. And you're gonna leave that old rusty hood like it is? Awesome. Good choice.
57 Chevy cloth.
Oh, there's a 57 Chevy cloth? Oh my gosh. Is that a 3 on the tree kind of deal? Oh man, this thing just gets better and better. And green is my favorite color. But you don't see a lot of green interiors anyway. It's so Americana.
Yeah.
Okay, gang. Good luck with your teaching.
What was your first name?
I'm Don Radebaugh. Jim and Julie. You guys married?
We are.
Okay. You got kids?
Yeah.
Common kids? Cool. How old are they?
20 and 17.
Do they like you? I mean that age bracket. I'm
Depends on the day.
okay.
Depends on the day.
Because I
Our daughter, the junior, she's number 1 in her class.
say that again.
She's number 1 in her class.
Wow, like valedictorian wise. That's cool. Now that's the stuff you're proud
I think
of.
it's very cool because if she's that way when she's a senior, she has to give a speech. So she don't think that's very cool.
Well, you know what? She needs to get good at it because public speaking is a great quality to have. You know, someone who can stand up at the meeting and, you know, that's important. It's like the scariest thing to do, I know.
Yeah.
But that's good. I hope she does get to give that speech because that'll be really good for her. And she'll be glad she did it when she does it, after it's over. Next in line, I could charge $5. Like they just, isn't it funny? All these decades later, when he died in 1955, and they just keep coming. It's interesting. Come on out. I know you want to see James Dean's grave, right? Where are you guys from?
She's from Kokomo, from Muncie.
Oh, Kokomo. You ever been to Kokomo Speedway?
She has.
That is such a cool racetrack.
Yeah.
I love that place.
We go there all the time.
Oh, you ever heard Dave Darland?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
I got a shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. I love Dave Darland. USAC champion. See you guys. Ooh, you got some little sharp jaggers on you there. Ooh. I'm picking her up. She's off the ground. Oh. Go get it.